The clothing you wear, the food you eat, the car you drive. Anxiety for both consumers and business owners about the rising prices of items used every day.
You have 72 hours. That is the window most municipal water systems give you before pressure drops, taps run dry, and everything you assumed about daily life stops being true. No cooking, no cleaning, no flushing, no drinking. Most households are not ready for hour 1, let alone day 3. This list is not about fear. It is about the 12 items that go from ordinary to irreplaceable the moment the water stops. Let us get into it. Number 12. Water storage containers. This one sounds obvious until you are standing in your kitchen with empty hands and a dry tap, realizing that knowing you need water and having somewhere to put water are two completely different problems. Most households own exactly 0 purpose-built water storage. What they own is a collection of old plastic bottles, a Brita pitcher, and the vague memory of someone once telling them to fill the bathtub. None of that works when a crisis runs longer than a few hours. The containers that matter are the ones designed for long-term potable water storage. Food-grade high-density polyethylene barrels in the 5 to 55-gallon range. Water bob bathtub bladders that can hold up to 100 gallons using a standard tub as the vessel. Stackable 7-gallon aqua tams that store flat until you need them. These are not luxury items. They are the infrastructure of water independence. Here is the number most people have wrong. The standard emergency recommendation is 1 gallon per person per day. That number covers drinking and minimal sanitation only. It does not cover cooking, washing dishes, basic hygiene beyond hand wiping, or any emergency medical need. A realistic figure for genuine comfort and function is closer to 3 gallons per person per day. A family of 4 needs 12 gallons a day. For a 2-week supply, that is 168 gallons. Most people have 0. The container itself has a shelf life consideration that most guides skip. Plastic containers degrade over time, especially in heat and UV exposure. A barrel stored in a hot garage for 5 years is not the same container it was when new. Inspect, rotate, and replace storage containers on a schedule. The container is as important as what is inside it. When the tap runs dry, the people who planned for this are not the ones panicking. They are the ones the neighborhood comes to. The gap between those two groups is a stack of food-grade barrels and the decision to buy them before the problem arrived. The container gets you through the first emergency, but stored water alone runs out. What bridges the gap between what you stored and what you need long-term is something most people own but almost nobody has configured correctly. That is number 11. Number 11. Water filtration and purification systems. Stored water has a ceiling. Once it is gone, unless you have a way to make the water around you drinkable. This is where most emergency plans collapse. People assume that if they can find water, they can drink it. A river, a creek, a swimming pool, collected rainwater, a flooded basement. What they do not account for is what is in that water. Bacteria, protozoa, heavy metals, chemical runoff, biological waste from upstream, sediment that carries pathogens. Water that looks clean can kill you. Water that looks dirty can be made safe if you have the right system. The 3-layer approach is what professionals use. Pre-filtration to remove visible sediment and particulates. This can be as simple as a cotton bandana or a commercial sediment filter. Stage 2 is mechanical filtration through a ceramic or hollow fiber membrane that removes bacteria and protozoa at the micron level. A quality hollow fiber filter removes particles down to 0.2 microns. Giardia, Cryptosporidium, and most waterborne bacteria are eliminated at that level. Stage 3 is chemical treatment or UV purification to address viruses, which hollow fiber filters alone may not capture. Iodine tablets, chlorine dioxide drops, or a battery-operated UV pen handle this final layer. The most capable all-in-one systems on the market can process thousands of gallons per filter cartridge. A single quality gravity filtration unit with a quality ceramic element can filter tens of thousands of gallons over its lifetime, using nothing but gravity and time. No electricity, no batteries, no moving parts. The systems that fail in a crisis are the ones that depend on power, replacement cartridges that are no longer available, or proprietary parts that require the original manufacturer to service. Build redundancy. A gravity filter, a supply of chemical treatment tabs, and a UV pen covers 3 independent failure modes. If one fails, you have 2 backups. Water treatment is not a place to build a single point of failure. If this channel is the kind of preparation intelligence you want in your corner, hit the like button right now and subscribe. This is exactly what this channel was built to deliver. Knowledge that becomes priceless before most people even realize they needed it. Subscribe now and stay ahead. Filtration keeps you drinking, but water serves more than one function in a household. What happens to the most basic act of human sanitation when the taps go off and the toilets stop working? Number 10 is the answer nobody wants to think about until they desperately need it. Number 10. Sanitation and waste disposal. Supplies. Nobody wants to have this conversation, which is exactly why this item climbs so high when water stops. A standard toilet requires approximately 1.6 to 3 gallons of water per flush, depending on the age and model. In a water emergency, every flush is a decision against drinking, cooking, or washing. Most households make that trade-off unconsciously for the first few hours, then realize too late how quickly their stored supply has been flushed, literally away. The alternative sanitation system is not complicated, but it requires setup before you need it. A 5-gallon bucket with a snap-on toilet seat lid becomes a functional emergency commode. Heavy-duty compostable waste bags that fit the bucket, a supply of kitty litter or sawdust for covering waste and managing odor, and a sealed secondary container for waste storage until it can be properly disposed of. This system works. It is used by disaster relief organizations around the world in exactly these conditions. Beyond the toilet question, basic sanitation in a water-out scenario requires dry hygiene alternatives. Waterless hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol content. Baby wipes and wet wipes in sealed packaging for body hygiene. Feminine hygiene supplies. Incontinence products for elderly family members. These are the items that disappear from store shelves within hours of a serious emergency announcement, which means acquiring them before the announcement is the entire strategy. Sanitation failure in a prolonged water outage is not just unpleasant, it is a direct disease vector. Cholera, typhoid, and E. coli. Outbreaks in disaster zones are almost always traced back to sanitation breakdown, not to the absence of food. Keeping waste isolated and hands clean is the difference between surviving a water crisis and becoming a statistic in one. Sanitation is the invisible survival layer. What comes next is something most people reach for automatically when a crisis hits, and that instinct is exactly right, but only if they bought it before the shelves cleared. Number 9 is already gone from your local store. It just does not know it yet. Number 9. Bleach and chemical water. Treatment supplies. Plain, unscented household bleach is one of the most powerful water treatment tools available to a civilian household, and most people have a half-empty bottle under the sink that expired 2 years ago. Sodium hypochlorite, the active compound in bleach, degrades over time. A bottle that has been sitting in storage for 12 months at room temperature may have lost a significant percentage of its active strength. In a water treatment scenario, you need to know the concentration you are working with. Outdated bleach at unknown concentration is not a reliable safety tool. Standard unscented bleach at 6% sodium hypochlorite. Concentration treats 1 quart of clear water with 2 drops, 1 gallon with 8 drops, 8 drops per gallon, wait 30 minutes, and water that started out microbiologically suspect becomes safe to drink. This is the method recommended by FEMA and the CDC. It does not require electricity, special equipment, or training. It requires a bottle of bleach, a dropper, and a watch. Calcium hypochlorite pool shock is the professional-grade alternative. A 1-pound bag of calcium hypochlorite at 68% concentration can treat tens of thousands of gallons of water over its shelf life. It stores far longer than liquid bleach when kept dry and sealed. 1 teaspoon dissolved in 2 gallons of water creates a bleach stock solution. 1 cup of that stock solution treats 1,000 gallons of drinking water. This is a generational water treatment supply in a 1-pound bag, and most people have never heard of it. Stock both. Liquid bleach for immediate, straightforward use. Pool shock for long-term reserve capacity. Label everything with purchase dates. Rotate annually. Bleach addresses biological contamination. What it cannot address is the need to boil. And boiling requires heat. Heat, when the power is out and the gas is off, requires a fuel source most households ran out of before the end of the first day. That is number 8. Number 8. Emergency fuel and cooking. Heat. Boiling is the oldest and most reliable water purification method in human history. 1 minute at a rolling boil kills every biological threat in water, from bacteria to protozoa to viruses, with no equipment beyond a heat source and a pot. The problem is the heat source. In a standard household power outage, the electric stove stops working. In a gas outage, the gas range stops working. In a combined outage, which is exactly what happens when a water main breaks in conjunction with the infrastructure failure that caused it, you have a full kitchen and no way to use it. The fuel sources that matter in this scenario are the ones that operate independently of the grid. A propane camping stove with a supply of 1-pound canisters or a direct connection to a 20-pound tank. An alcohol-burning camp stove with a supply of denatured alcohol. A butane stove with a supply of butane canisters. A wood-burning rocket stove that uses nothing but sticks and scrap timber. A solar oven that uses nothing but sunlight and reflective panels. The calculation most people skip is fuel volume versus need. A single 1-pound propane canister provides roughly 1 hour of cooking time at medium heat. Boiling water, cooking food, and sterilizing equipment for a family of 4 over 2 weeks requires significantly more than 1 hour of cooking time. Calculate your actual need, then triple it. Fuel is the resource that determines whether your stored food and filtered water are accessible or theoretical. Fuel stores well if kept dry, away from heat sources, and in manufacturer-sealed containers. A supply of propane canisters, a backup alcohol stove, and a hand-built rocket stove foundation in the backyard is a layered fuel strategy that covers almost every failure scenario. Build the layer before the crisis, not during it. Fuel handles boiling and cooking. What handles the cold when heating also fails? Number 7 is the temperature management solution that most people associate with camping, but should be treating as essential household infrastructure. Number 7, thermal retention and insulation supplies. Water outages rarely arrive alone. They come bundled with power outages, infrastructure failures, and in many cases, temperature extremes that make the situation immediately life-threatening for the vulnerable. Hypothermia and hyperthermia kill faster than dehydration in the right conditions. A healthy adult can survive 3 days without water. A compromised adult or a young child in the wrong temperature environment can reach a medical emergency in hours. The thermal management tools that matter are layered. Emergency Mylar thermal blankets, the kind that fold down to the size of a deck of cards, reflect up to 90% of body heat back to the wearer. A quality wool blanket retains insulating properties even when wet, which synthetic blankets do not. A sleeping bag rated below the expected nighttime low temperature for your region is not camping gear. It is a survival tool. On the heat side, a propane-compatible indoor safe heater with carbon monoxide certification provides warmth without ventilation risk. Kerosene heaters for garage or well-ventilated space use extend the fuel flexibility. Thermal curtains hung over windows reduce heat loss by a measurable margin, reducing how much active heating is needed to maintain a survivable interior temperature. The water connection here is direct. Every degree of temperature stress your body manages is energy. Your body cannot spend on the immune function and cognitive capacity you need to manage a crisis effectively. Staying warm or staying cool is not a comfort decision in a water emergency. It is a performance decision that determines how well you can execute every other item on this list. Thermal management handles the temperature threat. What handles the information threat? The inability to communicate, coordinate, or receive emergency updates when the grid is down. Number 6 is the communication layer most households have completely abandoned. Number 6, battery and hand crank emergency radio. When the water stops, the power usually goes with it. And when the power goes, so does your smartphone within 12 to 24 hours, depending on how aggressively you're using it. Your connection to emergency broadcasts, shelter locations, boil water advisories, and infrastructure restoration timelines disappears with it. A battery-powered or hand-crank emergency radio does not depend on the cell network, the internet, or a charged battery you remember to maintain. It depends on radio frequency signals, which continue broadcasting from emergency management stations throughout virtually any crisis scenario. NOAA weather radio broadcasts continuously on dedicated frequencies. Emergency alert system updates come through those same frequencies. A shelter-in-place order, a water restoration timeline, a contamination warning, all of it reaches you on a radio that costs $30 and runs on 4 AA batteries. The hand crank models add a backup charging mechanism that requires nothing but physical effort. Some models include solar charging panels, USB ports for charging phones, and built-in LED flashlights. The multi-function models are not gimmicks in a real emergency. They consolidate the number of separate items you need to maintain and power. The information you receive on that radio is what determines whether your other preparations are deployed correctly. Acting on bad information, sheltering when you should evacuate, staying put when water has been restored, is potentially as dangerous as acting on no information at all. A reliable emergency radio is the intelligence layer that makes every other preparation more effective. Information keeps you oriented. What keeps the lights on when the grid does not? Number 5 is the illumination solution that costs almost nothing to maintain and lasts years longer than most people realize. Number 5, lighting that does not depend on the grid. Darkness is underestimated as a crisis multiplier. When water stops and power follows, a household that cannot see cannot function. Injuries from navigating a dark house, accidental fires from improvised candle lighting, the psychological weight of sustained darkness on children and elderly family members. These are real consequences of a problem with straightforward solutions that most households have not implemented. LED headlamps are the most practical illumination tool in a household emergency. Hands-free, directional, and exceptionally efficient on battery power. A quality LED headlamp on a single set of lithium AA batteries can run on low mode for hundreds of hours. Buy one per household member, maintain a supply of fresh lithium batteries in sealed packaging, and the lighting problem is essentially solved indefinitely. Solar-charged LED lanterns bridge the gap between portable and area lighting. A lantern placed in a window during the day charges fully on ambient light and provides 8 to 12 hours of area illumination at night. No batteries needed once the initial unit is purchased. No fuel, no risk of carbon monoxide from flame-based alternatives. Candles remain on this list with a significant caveat. Open flame in a crisis environment, combined with distracted adults, sleeping children, and reduced supervision of ignition sources, creates a fire risk that can transform a water crisis into a life-threatening structure fire. If candles are part of your light strategy, they require dedicated holders, supervision protocols, and must never be used as a sleep light. Use them as supplement, not foundation. Light keeps you functional. Now we arrive at the item that allows you to put everything on this list to actual use. Number 4 is not glamorous. It is not complicated. But without it, the rest of your preparations sit unused and inaccessible. Number 4, manual tools and non-electric equipment. A power outage does not just turn off your lights and your stove. It turns off the can opener screwed into the underside of your cabinet, the electric pump that pressurizes your well, the automatic garage door that is now a wall, and the powered water pump that moves stored water from your barrel to your pot. Manual tools are the physical interface between your stored supplies and your ability to use them. A hand-operated rotary can opener, a manual hand pump for transferring water from large storage containers, a non-electric grain mill if you store whole grains, a hand saw, a hatchet, a manual drill. The tools that work when nothing else does. The water transfer problem is more significant than it sounds. A 55-gallon water barrel weighs over 450 pounds when full. You are not lifting it to pour from it. You need either a hand pump designed for barrel use, a siphon system, or a spigot installed at the base during initial setup. Most people who buy large water barrels discover this problem after the crisis begins, standing in front of a barrel they cannot access. Install the spigot before you fill it. Buy the pump before you need it. A non-electric percolator or pour-over coffee setup is on this list not as a luxury footnote, but as a morale point that experienced emergency managers take seriously. Sustained crisis response deteriorates fastest when morale collapses. A hot drink made without electricity, using manually heated water, is a disproportionately powerful morale anchor in a prolonged emergency. Small normalcy matters more than people who have not been in an extended crisis typically expect. If this is the kind of preparation intelligence that belongs in your household, now is the time to act on it. Hit the like button if this video is building your readiness, and subscribe to this channel before the next video drops. The next one covers items that disappear from stores within hours of an emergency announcement. You do not want to see it after the fact. Manual tools make everything accessible. What makes everything survivable over the long term is the supply category most people rotate out of their pantry without replacement. Number 3 is the food strategy that requires no water to prepare and no power to store. Number 3, no-cook, water-independent food supplies. Most emergency food guidance focuses on canned goods that require heating and shelf-stable items that require water to reconstitute. In a water emergency, both of those categories become complicated. Using stored water to cook food means using less water to drink. Heating food requires fuel. Every resource you spend on food preparation is a resource not available for something else. The no-cook, water-independent food category solves this entirely. These are foods that can be eaten as is, at any temperature without preparation, and without drawing on your water supply. Peanut butter is the highest calorie-to-weight ratio food available in a standard grocery store. A 2-pound jar provides roughly 5,000 calories. It requires no water, no heat, no utensils beyond something to spread with, and stores for 1 to 2 years unopened. Crackers, hardtack, and rice cakes provide the carbohydrate delivery vehicle. Nuts, seeds, and nut-based granola bars add caloric density and micronutrient variety. Jerky and dried meat products provide protein without refrigeration. Honey is the only natural food that does not spoil, provides immediate energy, and doubles as a topical antimicrobial for minor wounds. Hard candy, dried fruit, and chocolate serve a function beyond calories. They manage morale, particularly in children, and provide quick energy during periods of physical exertion. An emergency manager who dismisses the psychological role of food variety in a crisis has not managed a prolonged one. The practical guide is simple. Identify foods in these categories that your household already eats and enjoys. Stock 6 times your normal quantity before an emergency arrives. Rotate through them in normal daily eating so nothing expires unused. Your emergency food supply and your normal pantry become the same thing. The emergency supply is always fresh because it is always being used and replaced. Food without water gets you through. What the final 2 items address is the sustained, long-game survival that separates a household that manages a water crisis from one that is shaped by it permanently. Number 2. First aid and medical supplies. Water outages create medical emergencies through mechanisms most people do not anticipate. Dehydration progresses to a medical crisis faster under physical and psychological stress than under baseline conditions. A person who would normally become dehydrated after 24 hours without water may hit the same physiological threshold in 12 hours during a high-stress situation. Children and elderly adults reach dangerous dehydration faster still. Having oral rehydration salts, not just water, on hand is the difference between hydration maintenance and hydration recovery after the fact. A packet of oral rehydration salts, dissolved in 1 liter of water, replaces electrolytes that plain water cannot, treating early-stage dehydration before it becomes an emergency. Beyond dehydration, the absence of running water for wound care creates infection risk from injuries that would be trivial under normal conditions. A cut that gets cleaned immediately under running water with soap is a minor inconvenience. The same cut in a water-out scenario, cleaned inadequately with a limited supply of stored water, can become infected within 48 hours. The medical supply kit for a water emergency goes beyond the standard first aid checklist. Sterile saline solution in sealed squeeze bottles for wound irrigation without using drinking water. Wound closure strips and butterfly bandages. A supply of antibiotics if accessible through a prescribing physician, ideally with a standing conversation about emergency preparedness. Oral rehydration salts in sufficient quantity for the full household for the full duration of the anticipated emergency. Prescription medications in a 30-day supply beyond current need. Over-the-counter fever reducers, antidiarrheals, and antacids, because gastrointestinal illness is common in water emergency conditions and compounds the dehydration threat. Medical supplies are the safety net under everything else. The final item on this list is the one that every other item depends on. And it is not a product. It is a decision made before the crisis, never during. Number 1. A documented household water emergency plan. Every item on this list is inert without this one. The barrels, the filters, the bleach, the food, the medical supplies, they sit in storage and do exactly nothing if the people in the household do not know where they are, how to use them, how to prioritize them, and what decisions to make in the first hour of a water emergency. A documented plan means a written document, not a mental note, not a conversation you had once, not a YouTube video you watched that you will try to remember. A written, printed, physically accessible document that exists in the house without requiring a device or a power supply to read. The plan addresses specific questions with specific answers. Where is the water storage? How much is there? What is the daily rationing protocol? Who is responsible for filtration? What is the sanitation setup and where are the supplies? Who has the medical kit and where is it? What is the evacuation trigger and where is the evacuation destination? What is the communication protocol for family members who are not home when the crisis begins? Run a drill, a 2-hour dry run with no tap water used, no powered appliances, and no phone data. 2 hours of living as though the water stopped. The gaps in your plan will announce themselves loudly. The items you thought you had that you do not have. The procedures you thought were understood that are not. The morale issues that emerged after 45 minutes that you did not anticipate. A drill finds those gaps when fixing them is easy, not when fixing them is impossible. The water stopping is not the crisis. The water stopping when you are not ready is the crisis. These 12 items do not guarantee comfort. They guarantee capability. And in the gap between those two outcomes, preparation is the only variable you actually control. Stay sharp. Stay stocked. The next video covers the household products disappearing from store shelves before the end of summer, and some of those are already gone from Walmart. Click on the left. I will catch you there.